Hello and welcome to a short video on how to calculate CSAT score. In terms of CSAT score, we want the screen to look like this because in terms of how to understand what kind of story the data is actually trying to tell us, we need to have our parameters on the left-hand side in a column, just like you can see here. And then how many people gave us one, how many gave us a two, three, four, and a five. This particular calculation in terms of those individual numbers then ultimately helps us develop the final average rating and also the CSAT score. Uh, the question is, how do we derive these numbers? How to derive these numbers? Basically, we use a formula that starts with COUNTIFS. Um, I am not expecting any of you here to be experts in Excel, Microsoft Excel. However, having said that, I have decided to copy the formula and paste it into this sheet. You will all have this formula because I will also be providing you with this particular Excel file. So you can go inside this file and work on it. The formula is down here in the middle here. You can see the number of ratings, the COUNTIFS. Basically, what it's saying is that we will refer to a worksheet by the name of data. So if we look towards the bottom left-hand corner, we see the worksheet by the name of data. And we want data from column B in that worksheet. So as you can see, I'm clicking on that data worksheet, data from that column B. Column B says the response time. That's one of our parameters. So when we look at that data, we come back to our calculation file. So we simply go into the box that corresponds to the column B, which is response time, and also corresponds to the rating, which is 1. So in this particular box, as you can see, C4, in this box, we will have the total number of customers or respondents who gave us 1 under the parameter response time. So with that information, once we have that, Excel is quite smart. It will just help us copy the same formula into some of the other boxes so we don't have to insert the formula every time. However, that only happens in the rows. You will see what I mean in just a few minutes. Okay, so we want to bring our data in this particular form so that we can see the average rating and also the CSAT score. I have just put in this little black box here, the CSAT score, and there is actually a formula inside there also, an average of all of these. Of course, average of all the CSAT scores given from those individual parameters. The total of that divided by the total number of parameters, that gives us the final CSAT score. Okay, how we calculate that? Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and open a blank file, which will have this particular formatting. However, I will show you how to do the calculation and how to insert that calculation in those corresponding boxes. Here we go. All right. So now what we would like to do is try to understand how we come up with all of these numbers. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and delete all of this so I can show you exactly how we come up or derive these numbers in Excel. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete, and all of these colored boxes, I will also have to remove the colors so that it is a bit easier for you to visualize. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove I've got some rules here that I will just remove, selected cells. And also the very last thing is removing colors from here, which is also clear the rules. So, okay. So now we want to know how many ones did we get under response time. We also want to know how many ones we got under quality of work and communication and so on. And we also want to know how many twos we got in response time, 3s, 4s, and 5s. So in order to do that, we actually use the COUNTIFS formula. Don't worry about that. It's a detail in Excel. I have already copied the formula down here for you. So basically, we're going to use the COUNTIFS formula. Once I enter the formula inside the field, Then I will explain a bit further. Okay. So here we want to know how many ones we got under response time. I clicked in this box, then I type equal to sign, and then Control V to enter the formula. Now, this formula is basically taking us to a worksheet, as you can see, data. So data, bottom left-hand corner, there's my cursor. That's the worksheet in which there is a column B. That column B contains all the responses for response time parameter. Then it also wants us to use some stuff from this particular worksheet. The name of this worksheet is calculation. You can see towards the bottom left-hand corner. And then it wants us to move to C3. C3 basically shows us the number one. So according to this formula, we will find out how many ones we received under response time. Okay, so once we've got this, we will go ahead and click inside the formula and enter. This tells us that according to our survey, we received no ones under response time. So now we want to know if we got any twos, threes, fours, or fives under response time. So we simply click inside this box again, not double click, but one click. Move your cursor over to the bottom right-hand corner, it becomes a plus sign. Then you just move the cursor over to the right, drag the cursor, and you will get the rest of the numbers. So now we know for response time, we got 22s, we got 43s, we got 44s, and 05. We will now go ahead and populate the next row with the same formula. So we're going to type equal to sign, Control V. So now we want to know, of course, instead of column B, because in our data worksheet, column B corresponds to response time. So we're going to change that to column C because we know that column C corresponds to quality of work. You just change the column to C, hit enter. Now we've got this number, we got 21 under quality of work. We look at the plus sign bottom right-hand corner, make the cursor go down to make it plus sign, then drag to the right, we've got those numbers. Now, that was column C. Now we want to go to column D, equal to sign, Control V, change this to column D, hit enter, then drag to the right. And we will just keep doing this until all our parameters are covered. So equal to sign, Control V, that was B, C, D. So this will be E. So this is column E in the worksheet by the name of data. Then we just hit enter. Then click on the box, bottom right-hand corner, plus sign, drag all the way to the right until 5. Let's do that again, very quickly, equal to sign, Control V, B, C, D, E. So this will be F. So this will be column F. We change the column name to F, enter, drag to the right. We've got our number. Just got another 3 to go. This is good repetition because repetition makes it easy to remember. So now this column should be, okay, B, C, D, E, F. So this should be G. Make it G here and G here. Enter, click inside the box, bottom right-hand corner, plus sign, drag to the right. We've got the numbers. We do the same thing, equal to sign, Control V, B, C, D, E, F, G. So this should be H. We put a H there and then enter. Click in the box, bottom right-hand corner, plus sign, drag to the right. Last one is problem resolution. Equal to sign, Control V. This should be column I because the last one was H. So this is column I. Change it to column I. Enter, click on it, go all the way to the right. So now we have successfully populated. Now we know that for which service parameter, how many ones we got, how many twos, threes, fours, or five. Next step will be to try to understand how to develop how to calculate the average rating. Once again, I have done one better for you. I have copied the formula so that you don't have to worry about all the Excel technicality. So this one has a thing called sum product formula. The sum product basically means that we will take a total of all the ones, then all the twos, all the threes, fours and fives for a given parameter, and then divide them with the total number of respondents. That's what the sum product means. Let me explain this again. The average rating we will derive simply by adding up the totals. So 0 plus 1 times 0 is 0. Then 2 times 20, 40, plus 3 times 40 is 120. So 40 plus 120, that's 160, plus 4 times 40, that's 160. So 160 plus 160 is 320. So that's 320 divided by the total number of respondents, which is 100. So then this average becomes 3.2. Now let's go ahead and see if the formula also helps us derive that same number, which is 3.2. We'll go down here, average rating formula. This is the formula, sum product. So we copy this formula, come into this box for average rating for response time, equal to sign, Control V for the formula. So now this is C3 to CG, which is 1 to 5. Then the product, a sum and product of both which is C4 to G4, which is the scores we got. Then we've got this multiplication. So now we have a total number of scores with for response time, all the ones, all the twos, threes, and fours. And then we divide them with the total number of respondents, which is the sum of, you notice here, C4, which is here in the formula, all the way until G4, which is also in the formula. So this formula is correct. Let's see if it gives us that number that we came up with, 3.2. Let's enter. There, we got 3.2. Now, all we need to do is once again go bottom right-hand corner of the column. The cursor turns into a plus sign. Then we just drag all the way down to get our average rating for each one of the service parameters. If you want the actual total average rating, so we just go down to this, the one that says grand total. We go down all the way down to, let's say, the column H, row 12. So the box will be H12, this box. Maybe we will turn the color of this box to yellow, and we will use the average formula, average of all of these average ratings for those individual parameters. So this one will be equal to sign. I will type AV, and this average comes up. So I'll double click on this word average. Double click. Now I select all the numbers I want an average of. I close parentheses and hit enter. So that tells us that our average rating out of 5 is 3.2. Pretty bad, I would say. Okay, now we need to try to figure out how to calculate the percentage, which is the actual CSAT score. Just a moment. All right, so now we need to try to understand how to calculate CSAT score. Very simple. This one is the sum of all the positive responses divided by all the responses. Sum of all the positives, which is the 4s and the 5s. We make a total of all these, both of these, and then divide them with the total number of respondents. We can insert a formula for this also, so we don't have to individually type the numbers. So that one is also quite simple. I have already created the formula here for you. So all we need to do, copy the formula for the CSAT score, Control C here, go in here, equal to sign, Control V. Now we have a sum of F4. This 40 is an F4 box, and G4. Sum of F4 and G4. So sum of the total number of scores under 4 and 5. So total of this, then we've got the stroke or oblique sign, which is divided by, and then the sum of all of these numbers, C4 all the way until G4, you can see in the formula. So the formula seems correct. We will go ahead and click on enter and see what our result is. It looks like it will be 40% because I can see from those numbers here, 40 divided by 100, 40%. We've got this. All we need to do now is just simply drag down until the last parameter, and we've got all of our individual CSAT scores for those individual service parameters. For response time, we are at 40%, communication 20%. Oh my God, not that good. We are quite okay with timeliness of completion. Cost effectiveness also not that great. Problem resolution, obviously 100%. That sounds very good, but this is unheard of. These are mock numbers. That's why you could probably see 100% there. Anyway, in order to come up with the final overall CSAT score, all we need to do is make an average of these numbers, average of all the CSAT scores under individual parameters. We just take the total of that and divide it by the number of parameters. So we will just do an average. Once again, I'm going to go inside this box to calculate the average. Equal to sign, average. Double click on this average. Select with your cursor all the way until all the parameters are covered. And then hit type parentheses close and hit enter. So you can see we are at 45%. If we were to go up here, follow my cursor, and you notice this arrow left and arrow right, these are numbers after the decimal, after the decimal, I guess, and see if there are any numbers behind that. So no. So we know that it's exactly 45%. So then we just go to the right one, click again, and it removes the any numbers that are after the decimal. So this gives us our complete CSAT calculation. And if you notice on the top left-hand corner, because like if you are presenting to somebody and when you open the file, open this sheet, then the top left-hand corner, you can already start with this. During our CSAT survey, we found that we got an overall CSAT rating or CSAT score of 45%. And then, of course, you can then start explaining the details, how it came out. Once we've got this, we can basically see the kind of story this data is trying to tell us. It's very simple. We can see that if you look at the range of good scores, if you are in 0 to 50, obviously, it is definitely needs improvement. 50 to 70 is fair, 70 to 90 is good, and 90 to 100 is excellent. So anything that we are below 50, we already start worrying about. So you can see this is below 50, below 50, below 50, and all the way until here. So these are below 50. Let's just go ahead and give them an alarming color, maybe like this color. Anything that is between 70 and 90, we'll give it a light green color. So we'll just give this 80 and 100. We'll just give it a light green color, maybe this light green. This 60 is in the middle somewhere. We will give it somewhere like a yellowish shade. So we give it like a beige kind of shade. So now we've got only one parameter, which is beige, but and two parameters that gave us excellent, pretty good score. And then we are in, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parameters that we really, really need to do some improvement. So then on the right-hand side, you can sit in groups, create problem-solving teams, and try to figure out what strategies to implement. First of all, what strategies to develop, and then how they will be implemented through action plans, who will do what and by what time or what date. So this is how we do calculation on CSAT score. Thank you very much. All right. So the one last thing that we also need to try to figure out will be how to create charts according to this data. So if you notice over about towards the bottom here, I have got a chart for CSAT score. So it makes it a bit easier to visualize that response time. You can see that we really need to work on staff attitude and professionalism. These are mock numbers, so of course yours will be different, but you will have data here and you will have charts that look like this. So then, of course, we are doing really well in problem resolution and also quite well in timeliness of completion of projects. But then areas like quality of work, we can see the numbers are quite far down. And then there's another chart which has to do with the average rating. So you can also see how the rating charts look, and they also make it easier, make it better, a better visual for those that you present this data to. How we do that, to come up with it, is very simple. If we want to get an average of CSAT score, we select from service parameter until the last service parameter. Then we click control. Then we select all the CSAT scores in that particular column. Then we go to insert, and you can see on top here, insert column or bar chart. So we click on that, and then we choose any one of these. So we can just choose the one on the left-hand side, and that's the one we chose. This gives us a very nice chart of response time, all the parameters in the bottom, and how high our scores are. And then, of course, if you would like, you can also put the actual scores inside these by right-clicking, and you just put there, add data label. So you click on that. Now you have the actual CSAT scores for on each one of these bars. And you can do the same thing for average scores. This one, the average rating. So we just go here. Of course, we've already created this one, so we are done with it. Now we want to go with average score. So we just, once again, we select all the parameters, then click control, and then select all the average ratings. We go to insert, chart, all the way to the left, we choose this one. Now we've got all the average ratings. So we just put those here. And if you would like, once again, we can add the actual rating on these bars to make it easier to visualize once again. So we click on one of these, or sorry, we click on one, it basically selects all of them. Right click inside, add data label. So now we've got the data label that tells us, okay, we got in the response time, we got 3.2, and so on and so forth. So this is how we create charts according to our data. One thing we need to keep in mind that when we do our survey forms, we don't only have data. We also have information for the customer. So we have their name, their possibly their address or a geographical location. We also know their gender, male or female, or any other gender. And also we've got all those other areas that we might have the information. And we can actually create charts using the data and their gender. Create charts using the data and their geographical location. Also, create charts using the data and their age group. Maybe they are from 18 to 25, 26 to 40, 41 to 50, something of that nature. So we will know exactly which age group of which gender feels which way about our service parameter, number one, and so on and so forth. All right, guys, thank you very much. I hope this video helps you in your future endeavors in terms of trying to find out how your customers feel about you. Okay, bye-bye.